What happened to all your hair?
That's what happens when you get promoted, your hair falls out.
Wow.
And then it'll go white, what's left.
Josh, can you hear me? Or Jacob?
Hey, Ron, yes, we
Hey,
can hear
Ron.
Hey, there's a really bad echo.
It's not too bad for us.
you. There's two of you.
Right, so Ron, I'm going to put the other Ron Michelina into the waiting room or delete it, and if that happens and breaks the connection, just go ahead and rejoin us, sir.
Okay, I will.
Those connections from Texas prison.
Okay, Ron, how does it sound now?
Better.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Cool. Well, I have 2:00. So I'm going to go ahead and call to order this regular planning commission meeting on Tuesday, May 5th at 2 p.m. Chris, why don't we go ahead and do roll call?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Roll call, Commissioner Baugh?
Here.
Commissioner Hall?
Here.
Commissioner Michelina?
Here.
Chairman Rigsby?
I'm here.
Commissioner Byers?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
And Commissioner Eby?
Here.
Excellent. We do have a quorum. At this time, we would need declarations of conflicts of interest for anything that we're hearing today from the commission.
I need to excuse myself from item C on the list.
Okay. That sounds good. I think they ask if there is one that you step out for that.
Yes, I will do that.
Any others? All right. Let's move on to our next item, certification of compliance with Resolution 2026-01.
So I hereby certify this meeting has been notified in accordance with Resolution 2026-01 and in compliance with Section 54-93 of the Village Municipal Code.
All right, thank you. Let's move to the third item, approval of agenda.
I move we approve the agenda for May 5th, 2026.
Second. Point of discussion, if we could have the discretion of the chair to move items around included in that motion, it would be appropriate for today.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second of agenda with the ability for the chair to move items as appropriate. All those or let's do a roll call vote.
Roll call, Commissioner Baugh?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina?
Aye.
Chairman Rigsby?
Aye.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Eby?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. We have a motion. Just to get ahead of this, we're going to move the recommendation for annexation case AX 2026 to the top of our quasi-judicial public hearings. So that will be the first one. That is letter E on your agenda. That will now be moved to our letter A. Yes. And that is the only change that I would like to make as of right now. So with that in mind, we'll move from approval of agenda to the approval of meeting minutes for our regular meeting on April 7th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 7th, 2026 as presented in our packet.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, let's move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Baugh?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina?
Aye.
Chairman Rigsby?
Aye.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Eby?
Aye.
Excuse me, motion carries. All right, let's move to our public input, number 5 on our agenda. So for the folks that are out there today, if you're not presenting on a case, this is the opportunity for anybody in the public to come and present items that are not on our agenda. So anything that needs to be brought to the attention of this commission and this body. So at this time, I'll open it up to any public input, either online or from the audience, if there's any. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public input and move to our quasi-judicial public hearing. This is the opportunity for a cross-examination, and we'll start with the, what was letter E, but now will be our first one, the variance approval case. I understand, sir, you have a commitment later, so that's partially why we moved it up. So, Keith or Chris, what we usually ask is for you all to tell us a little bit about what we're hearing today for this item. We've previously heard this one, and it was tabled at our April meeting. But if there's anything else, Heath or Chris, that you would like to add before we open it up to the applicant.
Thank you, Chairman. As a recap, this is a request for a recommendation to the Village Council for the annexation of properties located on Gavilan Canyon by the petitioners Wendell and James Bostwick.
Great. Wendell, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Mr. Bostwick, tell us a little bit more, or remind us what you're hoping to do.
Yes, first I want to say thank you for allowing me to move up. I've got a 10-hour trip to watch a grandson graduate in College Station tomorrow, so thank you for the privilege.
Of course.
We, as you all know, we've moved in and opening a commercial business to help regrow Ruidoso and put some metal on some things that maybe won't be quite so susceptible to fires as we are all quite aware of. We're wanting to annex the properties. We're adjoining property rather than, we do have water rights there. Not water rights, we've got permits that stay with the property. We could go back in and develop those. But we want to be a part of the community and a part of the city, and we'll be bringing gross receipts tax to your community and somewhere close to $250,000 probably a year. So that's part of what we want to be, is part of your community, and so.
Great, thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and open it for public input. And we'll hear from staff, and then we'll open it up for commissioners' questions. So this is for the annexation case. Any public input from the audience or on the Zoom for or against this item? Last call. Seeing none, we'll close public input, and we'll ask Chris. Chris, any correspondence or communication about this item? And then any other staff information that you would want to share.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, there's been, I included in the packet a letter from a community member stating some public inputs, generally with a reservation towards the annexation into the area. They are a neighbor. To summarize, they are a neighbor of the property and have various objections for the Planning Commission to consider towards the annexation.
Okay. And that was included in the original packet that was sent to us.
It's also included in this packet here, and I will give you the page number.
111.
This packet has grown since last time. Yes, so page 111 on the center designation for the page numbers.
Thank you. Any other items that you would want to comment on this request, Chris or Heath?
Yes, sir. So after speaking with, we do have a comment here from the fire department chief, Austin Miley, the assistant chief, and the saw no objections to any kind of impedance for fire services for possible annexation. We also did contact the school districts per ordinances to notify them of the petition. Have yet to receive any comment. We have been following up with them, but have not received any input back, at least no objections.
Great. Thank you, Chris. At this time, open it up to commissioners' questions. We got a big packet of information that was previously shared with us on this item. Commissioners, what questions do you have for the applicant to help us make our decision?
I'll let someone else go. Unless you want me to go.
If anybody has a question, now would be
Are
the
these
time.
only questions for the applicant?
You can ask them of staff. At this
Okay.
time, we're opening it up to commissioner questions. in
Heath
general.
or Chris, I don't know who would have the answer. I know part of our discussion last time was upon potential annexation, what would the zoning be on these lots?
So, thank you, Commissioner. So the zoning is considered to be R1 at the very beginning, and then it falls onto the request from the petitioner, and the petitioner has requested commercial for Lot 2, and either commercial or residential for Lot 3, 4, 5. And a decision would go coinciding with a decision today if it were to be approved by the planning commission.
Can I interject something? So part of the reason for that zoning is, as I stated, we will have our office and our warehouse, and then we'll have a laydown yard. But I hope you're aware that probably one of the there's a waterfall right there at the bottom of our property. It's a very beautiful piece of property. And the reason we'd like residential there, we would like to eventually build a barndominium or something of our own there to enjoy that beautiful waterfall. That's the reason we didn't build the lot all the way down there, and everything is, it's too pretty to ignore, so.
Thank you. And I think it's a pretty steep drop down to the creek
Yeah,
bed
but
too.
there's a way to get down there. But yeah, it is pretty steep, but you can still enjoy the waterfall, and it runs year round, so.
And I think, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, or Heath, R1 is the default setting, if you will, for annexation. It starts there, and then it would be either up to the applicant or us to change as appropriate.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Other questions? Staff or applicant? One of the reasons we tabled it, and this will be for you, Chris, and for you, Mr. Boswick, is the application, the full applicant package. I think it was in there. Was there any other missing documentation that you expected to have this annexation be heard?
So a complete boundary survey is required for the initial application, and that has still yet to be submitted by the applicant. A improvement location report has been submitted, but that is, there's a significant difference in the lack of acreage, stated acreage, and the dimensions for the area itself. So this would be pending, and part of the recommendations were to get approved or even require modifications would be the requirement for submittal of a full boundary survey, also known in this case as an annexation plat.
Thank you.
Can I add to that
Yes,
again? Lincoln, is it Lincoln Surveyors is doing?
Ruidoso Land Surveyors.
Yeah, they've been doing all the survey work. We had them come out and stake the building before we constructed, to be sure we were within our setback areas and everything. Chris showed me a map the other day, and it showed that, according to his map, half was on Lot 1 and half was on Lot 2 of the building, but the original, and they did the original survey, and all of the maps that we presented is, they're dated within compliance. And I had Chris come out, and we, in fact, I think he took pictures, I don't know if they're in the packet, of where the stakes are, the original stakes are, that shows that we're within our number 2 lot and have the correct setbacks. And he even took a tape out and measured it to, everything's square. If we need to get one, it's going to show exactly what you've got in your package, so.
Well, that was one of my questions, because that did show it on Lot 1 and Lot 2, and part of your recommendation is you'll have to have a survey to prove that, and as-built to prove that it is on Lot 2 and not in Lot 1, because as I look at it in here, it looks like half the building's on Lot 1.
Yeah, but it's not.
I get that's what you're saying, but there's no documentation here that.
Yeah, and we know his documentation is not, but we'd be happy to get you documentation then.
All right, big question. I see and reviewed, you got one well, which is for one household, and you've got 4 lots you're looking at. Is there a septic system on that?
No, but we can put one, so.
So how is your office there operating without a septic system?
We haven't opened the office yet.
Okay, it's not open. Okay. All right, looking at the, I guess in your own application, you didn't state what the additional uses will be, so you didn't give us a way to evaluate how that fits into the comprehensive plan. There's nothing in the packet that says, your packet says you're undefined about what you're gonna do with the other lots. And that doesn't give us much ability to say, well, how's that gonna comply with the comprehensive plan? I have no way to judge that or evaluate that because you stated you don't know what you're gonna do with the other lots.
Well, with economic situations and things, it's hard to make a statement of what you're gonna do, 3 months down, much less 2 or 3 years down the road. So I just stated that we're looking at that as a possible place for a barndominium or possibly 2 barndominiums to enjoy the waterfall. Can I guarantee we're gonna do those? No, I can't.
Thank you.
Okay, and the other, as I read it, you were looking at a mixed zoning of residential and commercial. The challenge is, as I look at it, is you start looking at you becoming spot zoning if it's anything other than residential. It's either got to be all commercial or all residential. You can't just pick and choose areas and go, this is going to be commercial, this is going to be residential, if you don't have an adjoining use. All the adjoining uses are residential, other than one little corner off Lot 5 on the other side of Gavilan Road. That is a C1 zoning. So you could zone those as C1, or they're R1, which means you don't have a business there.
It's adjacent to an R1 along the,
Yeah, like I said, it's an R1, but the business is commercial. It's commercial business. It's not a residential business.
yep.
And the other thing, when you look at the actual floodplain map and you look at the, where it bisects the property, half of those properties is not usable ground. And my suggestion would be is that you combine all of those lots together into one lot with the usable acreage and seek one zoning, because I don't see the benefit to the village of getting more residential lots. You've got one well for one house, and you've got 4 lots, and you're looking at 3 additional, if you look at it now, 1 commercial and 3 residential. That's 3 residential requirements for water that you don't have, you're not seceding that to the village, and you're just drawing down on the village water rights. It throws off the water balance for the village. And part of the annexation is you have to be able to bring the water rights to us. Otherwise, it's easily perceived as they say in the language, it's an indirect subsidy of services by the village. Can't do that in annexation. So, like I said, it's not a net win for the village on that perspective. We can't be subsidizing development or have it perceived as that. Now, if you had four wells and were able to do that and secede that back to the village, then it's a net, doesn't matter. But
The wells, the way I understand it, are our water rights. There's no water rights, but there's existing wells that we can reuse. There's 2 on the property. We also own Lot 1, or are in the process of buying Lot 1, so there's,
that's not in the package here
no,
today.
no. But we
that's
can
still-
reuse that.
Yeah, Yeah, you can do that for lot one, but then you've got three other lots.
Yeah,
You got 5 lots there total, 2 wells. You got 3 that you don't have water rights for.
and, that's the committee's prerogative. We bought the property anticipating putting barnuminium down close to the waterfall and commercial, the rest of it, and that's the way we would prefer it be annexed if it's going to be annexed, so.
Yes, sir.
Chris, of the conditions, of the 6 conditions that staff's made recommendations on, how many of those have been met? It's on page 122.
Thank you, sir. So out of the 6 conditions, I believe none of these have been fully addressed.
Other questions for the applicant?
I got all mine answered.
Ron, any questions from you?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Any questions for the staff? If not, I would entertain a motion or hear from commissioners, their comments, perspective.
I'm good.
Okay. One of the changes in the packet, if you guys weren't aware or didn't read Chris's email, he has a recommendation of a stated motion. This is to have any motion in the positive, so that way we can follow Robert's rules. And so that's why it's a statement of a motion, not a recommended motion. That was a change that we had there. So I would entertain one if somebody has a motion.
I've got my glasses on, I can read it. Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-101 of the Village Code, I move to recommend annexation approval to the Village Council for case number AX-2026-01 with the conditions stated in the case study.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Question, just I guess a statement of question. For this recommendation of annexation, it's going to default for the entire thing as R1. Do we as commission want to keep that? Do we want to recommend, or does it have to be in a separate motion that we
So it's combined.
combined? Do we want to leave it as R1? So that would be a non-conforming use on lot 2 as an R1, and then the rest would be as the applicant requested.
And the intention is for lot 1 to also be,
Well, in this case, lot 2, because lot 1, they don't own, correct?
right, that's what I'm saying, though.
So right now, if we follow through with the motion as presented, it would just default this entire 5432, those lots to R1. And so it would be a legal non-conforming use because it is a business that would be on lot 2, which we have.
Where else do we have those on R1?
I can't give you specifics off the top of my head, but there are certainly areas within the village, I'm sure. Maybe, Chris, you can think of one off the top of your head, but.
I can speak to the opposites. It is a case where in the village there are quite a few nonconformities of either commercial or residential being mixed that are grandfathered in. And I can provide details at a later date. Yes, sir.
But they're grandfathered in
Yes, sir.
because they existed prior to the zoning.
So no discussion, no interest in just changing it to C1 or 2, or just leaving it at R1 and then having it change later on?
Mr. Chair, we're gonna have to address this at some point in time, so we can can do it now or later.
Yeah.
So the motion right now is basically everything would be R1.
That's the default. That's the
And
default,
then you said the non-conforming use would be in Lot 2.
lot 2,
And
correct.
then he could petition later on to go commercial later.
Correct. Be nice to have one of those. Correct. The limitation that I see there, just cards on the table, is that where 2 is, it's the farthest from the commercial district that we have down below.
Yes.
And so it would be 5, 4, 3 would all be R1, and then it would be spot zoning for C1 in this case. But it's also going back and utilizing the comprehensive plan as our guiding principle, like what do we see this track being? Is it more residential? Is it commercial? I know the applicant has asked for the majority being R1 and then C1 for the Lot 2. We can do it lot by lot, but it would create a potential spot zone.
Mr. Chair, to make the conversation even more complicated, we're not sure that we're sitting on one lot.
Where the building is? Correct. There's been indication from the applicant and staff that it is on Lot 2 fully, but we're still waiting on a survey that shows that clearly, right, Chris?
That's correct. So it's unclear for the actual location of the building.
So I guess, Chris, for that, the image that we got on page, the improvement survey from Redoso Land, that has the actual building on it.
So there's an improvement survey on page 114 that shows the plot plan, and then taken on page 113 is a snip from the the Lincoln County Assessor's GIS.
Yeah.
That shows the division. One thing I could speak about the GIS image is that is, whether or not the building is fully on Lot 2, the augmentation of the image is caused by the fact that there's a discrepancy between grid to ground on the GIS with our undulating landscape.
Yep.
And so you look at your own properties, often you'll see, well, oh, that's not where my lot line is. And, so it's projected above and doesn't take into account the contours of the land. So usually we'll show some sort of augmentation. But since that does come to light and without a boundary survey, is worthy of mention.
Yes, sir.
Whenever, I sent him the Ruidoso, whenever they come out and survey, they sent us a map of where the building was located on Lot 2. And did you put that in the
Which one was this, sir?
one I sent you?
Yes, that is
I didn't
on
look at the
page
package.
114. And that is a plot plan.
And that's where he staked the building on Lot 2.
Yeah. Just so clarity for the record, 114, the improvement survey, is prior to the building being put on the location.
Yeah.
After the building is what you're calling the plat,
Right, a
to
boundary
show
survey.
where the building actually is.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have that one right now.
Correct.
And that's a requirement of the application.
That is.
Okay. I don't think we're sunk, because we can, within the conditions, say, because this is just a recommendation to council, we can, within the conditions, say, you have to show a boundary survey where your building that's currently constructed is completely contained within Lot 2. And then they have to provide that before it goes to council. So we can use that as a conditional case report if we wanted, or we pause this because technically they haven't met all of the requirements for the application. Those are kind of our two options, or we just say, don't worry about it, we trust you. But I think, not that we don't, sir, but
Mr. Chairman, but did not, that map where he staked that building, is that not a certified map?
so this is the improvement survey. The improvement survey, and what I was trying to seek clarity on was, it's before the building is built. A boundary survey is after you build that
Okay.
building. So we just need to
We
say,
built it where it was staked, I'll tell you, I promise. So-
yes, and I believe you, and we just need that as part of the
Okay,
application,
okay.
technically, to move forward.
I can call Kent and get that pretty quick, I think, so.
So that's another thing that we need to think through or talk through when it comes to this motion is, do we want to wait for all paperwork? Do we want to put conditions to move this process forward? Well, there is a requirement for the applicant to bring that to us. I don't know if there's thoughts or comments.
We've tabled it once, we table it twice, it's incomplete.
You can't do that?
I would suggest doing that. There's enough open questions. That would be my suggestion at this point. It's incomplete, open questions. None of the conditions placed by staff have even been addressed. That would give the applicant time to address those conditions as well.
We won't be back.
Okay. I'm trying to think.
That's the option, we table it, or, how can I word this? You just said that you won't be back, correct?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to think through Robert's rules, because we technically are talking about a motion. Chris, yeah.
So according to the Village Municipal Code, the options that the Plan Commission does have is either recommendation, require modification to the application, or denial.
So those are the three recommendations, and they all go up to village. And the motion as it states is approval. We can amend that motion so that way we can act on the motion. I think that that's the appropriate Robert's rules technically. So the motion right now is to approve the annexation or recommend approval.
Recommend approval to
Recommend.
the
Council with the conditions stated in the case report. So I guess the question is, do we want to do a modification of the motion? Do we want to add additional conditions? What's the,
Well, the big thing for me is if it's as presented now with these separate lots, is you're negative on the water rights. That's a big challenge.
and you're basing that off of just because there's one well for 4 lots?
If there were 4 wells, it's a wash.
Yeah, I am not scientific enough to argue against that, but it's the same water table.
Well,
So
but-
the size of the well doesn't
The
necessarily
challenge
matter.
is the perception, as it says, it's right here in section 54-101. You know, it can't impose an economic burden of village or result in an indirect subsidy of services by the village. You have 4 or 5 undeveloped lots there. They only have 1 well, they don't have any septic. If you're connecting sewer and water to it, you are subsidizing that. You can't do that for an annexation. The annexation has to be a net benefit, not a net effect on, because it's a forever thing.
I don't disagree with you there. The argument against it is that they're paying connection fees, they're paying ongoing water, they're paying ongoing sewer, and they're paying GRT. So that would be the argument against it.
Yeah, but then they get the profit off the sale of the land. Do we get any of that? That's why that's in there.
I understand that perspective. So I think what I'm trying to get at is what we want to do with the motion. Do we want to modify it? Do we want to just vote on it straight up? Are there no changes that folks want to make? I'm open to what we want to do from here, because we're still in discussion of the motion, which is to recommend approval.
Mr. Chair, I just hate handing off more problems to the city council.
And so, Rick, what would you recommend? Do you want to require modification? Do you want a table?
I prefer we table because the packet's not complete.
Okay. Folks, your thoughts?
I can live with tabling it. I hate that he, doesn't want to come back, but that's
their choice.
it is incomplete, and I'm not real comfortable about it being all R1, to tell you the truth, where it's at.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that default within the ordinance, that it
Yeah.
just goes to R1, because then it puts the onus on
Yeah.
us, but that's an aside point. That's beyond what we're talking about here today. Okay. So is there a amendment to the motion to table then?
I think whoever make the motion could just withdraw the motion.
Yes, Chairman, that would be correct.
Okay,
So I should withdraw that?
yeah.
Okay, I withdraw the statement of motion based on the foregoing findings of facts per 54-101 of the Village Code. I move to recommend annexation approval to the Village Council for case number AX-2026-01 with the conditions stated in the case study. I withdraw that motion.
Okay.
Then whoever seconded it would have to agree.
Second.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. And then, so is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Okay. I have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote.
Roll call, Commissioner Baugh,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina,
Aye. Aye.
Chairman Rigsby,
Nay.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Eby.
Aye.
It's tabled again for next month.
Don't put us on the agenda.
Thank you, sir. Chris, for my nay, I wanted to address the problem this month, if at all possible.
I'm sorry, sir?
For my, usually they want a reason why we voted no, but I mean, it
Okay.
didn't pass, so, but. All right, let's get back to our agenda. Moving to conditional use CU 2026-06. This is a conditional use for a accessory unit, but I do believe the applicant has withdrawn this request. So we will skip this one. There is more information in the packet, but the applicant did in writing request to skip it. So let's move to our next item. Excuse me, variance approval case, PV-2026-06. Is the applicant here? Okay, great. Come on down. While you're coming down, Chris, why don't you give us a little overview of what the applicant is looking to do? Or Heath?
Right, this is for 157 Fern Trail, correct? I was busy doing some paperwork. No, that's not correct. No, okay.
Okay, so I may have misspoke.
This is for one, this is supposed to be for 157 Fern Trail.
Okay, yes.
Pruitt? Okay, come on down, sir.
I don't have any information on the numbers, so I can't.
No, that's fair. It's in the packet and there's a couple over there, but this is, yeah, for 157 Fern Trail.
Okay,
Chris.
That's
perfect.
the right address.
Yes, yes, Chairman, so this is a request by the property owners to basically amend or add a covering to a existing deck on the property. The portion of the deck is a legal non-conforming in that it is in the setback for the property on the side setback. And that includes the existing house and the existing deck as it is built currently.
Thank you. We'll get you sworn in. We didn't swear in the last individual, but if you'll just raise your right hand, Mr. Ginsburg, and say you'll tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and then state your name as well.
I will tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and I am Pruitt Ginsburg.
Great. Mr. Ginsburg, tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do. We got an overview, but anything else to add?
I want to put cover over that deck to keep the sun off of it, and make it usable when the sun's out, which is pretty intense over the deck, so. The easiest way to do that, well, maybe not the easiest, the best looking way to do that is to just extend the roof out. There should be a sketch in your, not a sketch, a picture. Just extend the roof out, the existing roof out. It's putting a shed roof on it, doesn't quite work. And so just extend it out to the edge of the deck and support it there and somehow hook it to the house. So it's supported on that end and it would go out to the eaves of the house. So it'd basically be a roof extension of the house to cover the deck.
Great. Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and open it up for public input. If there are any comments on this item for or against, now would be the time. seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public input and move to staff comments. Chris, any comments from written feedback or anything from staff?
No, sir, no comments from the public concerning this case.
Okay, great. Then we'll move on to commissioners' questions, comments for the applicant. I have one, Mr. Ginsburg. So in the actual photo that we have here and the sketch, so this, I believe, is taken of the, where you want to do it, right?
Can I see that?
Of course.
Yeah, that's the house.
Okay, perfect. And so in the sketch that we got,
That's the sketch.
the bump out here, you're just going to extend that roof line or, because, so it's going to start from that bump out all the way back? Because that is lower than the
Yeah,
house.
there's a little bit of issue with that bump out, but I think we can clear it and just bring the whole thing out.
Okay, so you're going to use the roof line above that.
Yeah,
That was my
that's-
question.
that's right. The designer has to figure out how to do that.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. So it'll be that upper roof line that will be presented out.
Hopefully that's the way it'll come out.
Questions for the applicant?
Yeah, just noticing in our packet here, looking at the FEMA floodplain map, a portion of your deck is already existing in the floodplain. And my question would be, is if you're going to put a structure in that's tied to the house, that foundation, at least two of the three legs is going to have to be constructed in the floodplain. Are you prepared to build those piers to FEMA standards for floods?
That's what it takes.
Okay.
I looked at the floodplain map, and I couldn't tell if the footings for the deck were in the floodplain. You're saying they are?
Well, two of the three are easily in it based on your sketch here. One of them, I guess, would on the western side or upstream side it's close.
So the two eastern ones are in the,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And that's, because why? Because the reason I'm concerned with that is that your proposal is to extend the existing roof, and you're going to build a structure in the floodplain, and if we get a true monsoon and those piers are ripped out and attached to your roof, it's going to take that roof with it, and then you'll have a worse situation than if just the deck washed away as it is now.
Yeah, for what it's worth, the recent flood didn't get up there.
Yeah, I'm not, if you listen to what our emergency manager in the village had said the other day, we haven't seen a typical monsoon in these last 2 years since the flyer yet. I've been around long enough to see some of them, so that's would be my concern, is that if you're building something in the floodplain, it has to be to the FEMA standards. Otherwise, you'll just wind up.
Which means the footings have to be,
They have to be sunk and designed, they have to be designed, probably the architect, whoever designed
Maybe
your deck.
Chris or Heath, can you comment on building in the flood plain?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, or Counselor. So Commissioner Hall is correct. So if you want to build in the floodplain, you do have to meet those standards. So if you had an engineering design for this rooftop access, just have them include concrete piers, pilings for the footings.
yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Basically a flow-through foundation.
I thought that the biggest flood we had last summer missed those footings by quite a bit. You can see the line across.
Yeah, Mr. Ginsburg, that's something that we can't comment on because we just go off of the FEMA drawn map.
Understand.
Yeah, so that's what we base it off
I
of.
find the FEMA stuff extremely conservative. And the one that's being considered is even more conservative. I don't know if the village is going to approve that or not.
Yeah, that's, I would say, beyond our pay grade,
Yeah, I understand.
since all of us are volunteers, so.
I don't know whose pay grade it is, but they're getting pretty wild about it.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
question.
okay, so the footings would be in the floodplain,
According to what we see here.
and-
Yes, sir.
and
And, Mr. Ginsburg, with your design, it's really only part of the roof that would be in the flood, or in the variance, and this is a variance request. Is there a reason that you don't just have a shed roof on one side and extend it out?
Yes. It's kind of hard to do that and protect the deck and keep the sun off of it. The rain will run down on the, might run down on the deck, which you don't want to do that. And so in talking with the designer, it looked like the best way to cut across all that stuff and have it look reasonable was to just extend the roof so that the eaves will be with the eaves of the house, and the water will go off down like it does off the roof.
Okay.
So the shed roof, I thought that would be the way to go, but he pointed out several problems that maybe that wasn't the greatest way to go.
Commissioners, what other questions for the applicant?
No, I don't have any others. That was it.
Appreciate your comment on the piers, though, for the deck.
And that's on page 31 in that packet right there in front of you, if you want to see what we're looking at for the floodplain.
Yeah.
I've looked at several of them, they're kind of hard to tell, but I looked at that once being considered, and it does go up further. What page?
31.
31.
Yeah,
His page numbers.
31.
Is he looking at this same packet, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, that one right there.
And so the,
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Ron, did you have a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, Mr. Ginsburg's only plan is to really make a patio cover, no intention in closing this at any time or anything else. And I'm only asking that
I
because,
understand that.
we've had people that do that, so.
I didn't understand your
I
question.
think the question was, sir, do you have any plans of enclosing this in the future?
No,
Just a cover for the deck?
yeah, it's a sun cover.
Yeah.
It's overdone for that, but that seems like the best way to do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, Ron, did you hear that? There's no plans to enclose it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, Mr. Ginsburg, how would you describe, if there is a hardship, what the hardship is?
Well, the deck's basically unusable because it's warm, real warm out there. The intent was to provide some shade for the deck. I don't know why the house is set where it is on that property.
Yeah.
I don't know. It had to have a survey. It's recently purchased it.
Yep.
And you can see by lining up the two flags on that side that we're not very far off the property line.
Yeah, the house was probably built prior to the setback, so you're still in the property, but you're not in the setback.
Yeah,
And that's
we're in the property, but
Yep.
we no way do we have a 10-foot
Setback,
setback.
yeah.
And so I don't know why that's that way. I have no idea. So it turns out when I start talking to the designer, he says, well, the deck is gonna be illegal because it's not 10 feet away. Well, we could put it 10 feet away and then we got a roof that's running down on the deck. That didn't seem like a great idea. So we said, okay, we'll just extend the roof out and see how that looks and see if it's approvable.
Okay.
And so here I am. That's kind of it. I was looking at this map on page 31. Problem with these darn maps is it's real hard to see the building.
Outline is here
Maybe
for a basic.
I don't know if there needs to be a hardship in this case.
So what did you outline, Chris?
For,
Right here?
any variance, there needs to be
Okay.
a
Right.
hardship.
I was looking over here.
But this says,
Yeah.
It says it will-
alterations and additions may be made when they will improve the livability. So,
I had that same thing underlined.
True.
So what page is that?
it's not like.
36.
It's not like he's wanting to encroach on anything
I can
else.
get you
It's
a page in
already
the code.
there, and all he's wanting to do is
Maybe
just-
restate that for Ron. Ron, we're looking at page 36, the non-conforming uses and structures,
Yeah.
particularly H.
H, yeah. Where alterations and additions
Yeah,
may be
hey.
made when they improve the livability.
Right, they will not, yeah, no. Okay. That's where that applies.
Yeah, and I doesn't apply in this case because it's not an expansion of ground floor,
Yeah,
of the ground or floor area.
but
Yeah,
it,
you're not changing any footprint or anything, you're just extending a roof line over, and I guess I'm somewhat sympathetic because I face west on my deck, and the sun can be brutal, and especially this time of year and on into summer, and
I would think, like I said, if we just add the recommendations that, the footings conform to FEMA design specs for floodplain construction.
right, and it can never be enclosed,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that that's understandable. And Heath, would that be captured in the building permit approval process, the footings?
It can be, yes.
Well,
sure
for the,
it would be.
I'm sure it would be, like, do we have it, this is an aside from Mr. Ginsburg's, but for folks that are building in the floodplain, do we have the specs that are required for FEMA? Is that part of the check process that we have in the village now?
So as I understand with the village, no, there's not specific specifications in there
Okay.
that need to be identified. So I know, for example, we do have a project going on in Cherokee-Bill Mobile Home Park where we're requiring design specs for elevating on their CMU blocks and anchoring and all of those things to meet those elevation requirements. That all have to be signed by and stamped by an engineer.
Yeah.
So that is the specification that has to be stamped by an engineer.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion?
Oh, I got.
Go ahead, Joe.
Question,
Go.
just
Yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
lines of the question that Commissioner Hall brought up as far as the, and of course, the addition of having the footings, the pilings. Is there any requirement as far as, the question was as far as any specs, but my question was, can he build the supports with wood, or would it be required to use iron? That's being with the.
That would be just the engineer's recommendations. So the engineer, whoever designed, whoever gave the concept design.
Okay, so I would say in a motion, subject to the engineer specifications.
Yep.
Yeah.
That meet the FEMA standards for
Yeah.
floodplain construction. Yeah, I'd say state it.
Yeah, so to be clear, there are no designated specifications for what can be allowed. It's whatever the engineer designs based off of
Yeah.
hydrology and hydraulics.
But if the concrete part was higher than the floodplain, then you could put a wood beam on up.
Yeah, and the engineer will be able to look at that and go, okay, here's your footing, and then above that, it doesn't have to be concrete all the way up. It could be
Then-
wood or
then you
metal
could
or
put whatever
whatever.
you want up there, but of wood.
The key is what it's anchored to, because if you get the flood,
No, I understand your comment,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
That
Chris-
flood, I've seen the result. We got another one that went away.
oh, did you?
That's why we have this, doing this. Yeah.
Chris, a question for you, though. The statement in, I'm just now throwing a wrench in our plans, but on page 36, the non-conforming use and structures, that just allows him the ability to extend his non-conforming deck right now, or to have his non-conforming deck.
So are you
Is there a
speaking
reason
to-
that we needed the variance specifically for the roof? Is that not considered the same,
So
Extending the deck,
the roof line?
So the variance is to construct within a setback. And the fact that this is adding to the livability of a non-conforming structure, that would be one of the stipulations in section 54-127. Did I answer your question?
H just grants him the ability to edit a non-conforming structure.
Yes,
in 54-127, but in 54-98, he still has to meet the requirements of a variance. If not, then he was granted, he could have not come in, if I'm misunderstanding.
well, since it's an addition, I think I believe it had to be brought up to the planning commission to consider it.
And so he still has to hit the legal requirement for a variance.
Yes, he has to meet the requirements for the variance, and also with through the confines of what the commission is allowed, and with the non-conforming uses.
Repeat that maybe a different way, so I,
Right. So hitting the requirements for the variance with also the considerations of allowed encroachments or allowed nonconformities, as expressed in 54-127. So since this is, it technically is adding into the setback, it requires variance. And the hardships would have to be stated by the applicant.
So Commissioner, I might point out, or Chairman, I might point out, your variances are very specific and very defined.
yes.
So the deck as it sits is already the variance. Now you're going to change that by changing the house to add a roof line. I think that's where the variance issue is at play, right? Because now you're altering what the original variance would be.
Right, if there was a variance.
Yeah, if there was,
Probably
yeah.
was not.
Doesn't seem to be any information on that.
Yeah. So we still do have to hit the criteria for decision for a variance.
Yes, sir.
And H just gives him the right to do the alteration. So if he wanted to add, this is hypothetical, but if he wanted to add an addition on the west side, that is allowable because it's a non-conforming property. He has the right to edit it. But that doesn't dictate the variance. Is that,
Yeah, you're saying there isn't a hardship that,
yeah.
that
Well,
allows for,
if you look down in 5498 variances, and you look at the list, the following criteria are satisfied. It goes through the list. One of them was such special circumstances in law either create an extraordinary hardship in form of substantial and unjustified limitation or unreasonable use or economic return on the property or practical difficulties resulting in strict compliance. I think you've got a case on the
practical difficulty.
the practical difficulties is what he's talking about with the sun. The economics is that if you do the roof extension, you obviously will increase the value of the property. So,
And a deteriorating deck is decreasing the value of the property.
yeah, wherein the roof will also prevent that. So,
The lot is supposed to dictate that, not the building, would be my kind of counterpoint to that. Does the lot negatively impact his, like, if he was building fresh today, we wouldn't grant this variance because the lot doesn't dictate that. And general to the property, same zone district, not limited to the size, shape, topography, location, surroundings, physical characteristics, natural forces. Like, it's always based off the lot that we grant the variance, not the building that's existing.
I see what you're saying.
If I was building today, I wouldn't build it up against the side of the lot.
Yeah, that's exactly
A
my
lot of
point.
things different with that place.
Do I understand that you used to have a cabin on down that got washed out
On up,
on up
upstream. Went down the road.
on the other side of the road?
No, on the same side of the river, north side of the river.
But the road, it was in between the river and the road, wasn't it? Is this the Ginsburg family out of Roswell?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah,
Yeah, that cabin's gone.
yeah.
It went down the river,
I mean,
including the chimney.
he's in this because of a hardship of
That's,
gotten wiped away, but I know what you're,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah. Yeah, it went down.
if folks have a motion or maybe a counterpoint to the ones that I made, I would be all ears.
No, I read your point. I don't like it, but I read it. But you're correct.
Was there a motion then, or a statement or
there's no
motion?
leeway.
We have the ability to interpret the variance requirements and then make a decision on that as a quasi judicial board. We can make a decision based on whether the approval criteria have been met, shall be considered oral or written statements from the applicant, village staff, and its own members. We can do other, may impose additional conditions and safeguards as it deems necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. So that's what we can do.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
that's Chris. Do we know if this was grandfathered or this variance was approved for the extension of the deck and the setback?
I don't have any information if it was if it was grandfathered in or variance. We don't have anything in our database that's searchable so far that showed that. We used a program called CityWorks, and nothing has been found through that.
Did you find anything on the building of the house itself?
No, sir.
No.
So far, no building permits or anything of the sort.
1988, it said, when that was built.
It just been about in the time frame when all of it was rolling out. Depending on when it was built, it was.
I don't know when the deck was, I don't know if the deck was built with it or later, I don't know. There's some indication that something happened there, but I can't tell.
Is there a motion? Other comments? Ron, anything else to add or say?
No, I'm kind of with Rick on this. I mean, if the deck was put on during the initial house construction, would they have had to get a variance on it then?
No, not in 88.
Or if it's 88, I mean, if all we're doing is using the same footprint, does he need a variance?
That was my question, and it sounds like we do need a variance because there's a change with the covering.
And I guess I would disagree with that. And,
I mean, they're digging new footers, they're extending it out because they can't use the same footers of the deck.
No, we don't want to use the same
Right.
footage,
Yeah.
no. I'd be right next to it, but we won't use it.
Yeah.
No, I guess the question, the follow-up of what Bart was talking about is if the right's defined that he can do it, is this just a building process thing as opposed to a variance? Because he's gonna build in the floodplain, and if he goes through the building permit, the conditions for putting in those footings in that roof deck would be addressed by the building department, would they not?
Yes, but I think what Chris and Heath is saying is because this is a net new structure in the, like, yes, it's attached to the roof, but it's a net new structure and it's in the setback.
Yes, that was my point, yeah.
The variance requirements has to be met.
I have
And
a
I say it-
question. Oh, sorry.
Go
go ahead.
Chris, since we haven't seen this property with our own eyeballs, would the addition of this roof impede the view of any neighboring properties?
not as the way the properties exist now. The neighbors to the west have their structure set back further than what the, our applicant's property is at also. I'd like to ask the question, if I could, if the 25% increase on any area for the nonconformity applies within this case.
I mean, so your question is, would the additional roof trigger I? And
Since
they're two
the-
different things, in my opinion. Sorry to cut you off, but like 54-127 just grants Mr. Ginsburg the ability to alter his property as stated, because it is a non-conforming property, because it's in the setbacks. For this particular item, though, he's still building in the variance net new. So I don't know if 54-127 applies in this sense, because it just gives him the ability to alter his structure. And then 54-98 grants the variance of whether or not he can do it in the setback. That answer your question? I cut you off, I'm sorry,
No,
Chris.
it does.
You have seen the property, I believe.
Yes, sir.
But he gave me a call and said, you got the sign out there. I think he could verify it probably doesn't get in anybody's way.
Yes, sir. I can understand and respect that. A variance, because it was brought to us as a variance, is what is the hardship that's imposed upon you based off of the lot, the physical land itself. So an example, say you bought a property here in Redoso, it is 10 feet wide. There's no way that you can have 10-foot setbacks on either side, right? Maybe that's an unrealistic example. Or the only buildable location is in the back right corner of the property, and so you need to get down there to do that. So it's based off the lot is where the variance comes into play.
So my hardship is where they put that stupid house, basically.
Correct, but
Right
that,
over here next to the property line. Therefore, my deck, it doesn't meet the setback requirements, right? That's, the house forces me to build it there or do something really dumb and build half a cover or something like that.
yes, sir. There's an option for it where there's not just one solution to the problem. I would argue, and maybe Heath, Chris, others in the building department, is there a way that he can approach this differently? If he rebuilds or redigs the footers on the existing structure and goes straight up, that's just altering already a non-conforming legal entity.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're presented with a net new build that extends into the variance or into the setbacks. But if he, for example, replaces the post on the left-hand side, digs a new footer and has a beam that supports his deck and goes straight up, is he building in the variance at that point in time? I mean, technically because of the roof line, but he's still covered under the existing deck. Does that,
Actually, I think that sounds reasonable and logical.
You're just saying bore a hole through the deck and go there.
support the front right for a little bit, dig a big old pier that meets FEMA standards on that portion, put a post over there, and don't extend past the already existing deck? And then it's not a net new structure and a variance, right?
Yes, I would
It's
agree with
also
that.
not covered.
No, I'm saying you can go up and
He's
cover
saying
it.
replace the existing deck footings with beefier footings that would support the deck and the roof.
And the roof.
In the same spot
In the same
of the
spot.
existing.
Because right now, the example we have here is that he's building net new piers, net new beam outside of the deck. But if it's a deck alteration, that's a different permit than a new build, if I'm out of my depth here, Bart. This is,
I could do that. I could,
So that would just be a building permit thing that,
I could take those supports out and put bigger and taller ones, better footings, and attach the deck to it somehow.
yeah,
I could do that.
I think
That's not-
sounds reasonable, so does that,
Yeah, no,
it's a solution.
it's all semantics and, but, yes, I
agree
think
with
that if this gets
I-
gives him the ability to do what he wants, because I understand, you know, it was done before
Setbacks.
setbacks and
Yeah, it
stuff,
was done
and
before,
it's,
Yep.
you know, there should be a way for him to be able to just cover the deck, not a big deal.
'Cause we had a case similar probably several months ago about, the topography was really, it was about a garage or a shed that they wanted to expand the footprint on.
Yep.
But that was very much lot defined.
Yep.
Right,
But yeah, I mean, if you're doing within the same footprint, you've got the right to do that. You just gotta,
and you don't need a
you just need to go through the building permit process to make sure when you're
So we're
building.
recommending that the building department
Yeah, we're
look
basically
at this a
saying,
little different.
we're kicking it back to staff. We probably need to address the request for a variance and either approve or deny it, but I think there's ways within the design to get to the point that he wants. The legal definition of a variance is so tight,
No,
he
I
doesn't have a
understand that.
hardship of the lot. And so
Right.
that's why I don't think that I can say yes
On a variance,
on a variance, but if he's just altering a deck that's already has a legal use,
right.
as long as it fits within the building permit, and it's not a net new structure, I don't see.
Yeah, I agree with that. So do you need a motion on the,
We would need to address the variance that's brought in front of us.
okay? Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-69, 54-127, 54-98 of the Village Code, I move to approve the variance request for case number PV-2026-06.
I got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? And I think we'll need to say no to the variance, but there's ways that he can address it.
Right.
In my 2 cents, but you can vote your own conscience, so. Any other discussion? Let's move to a roll call.
Roll call vote, Commissioner Ball? No. Commissioner Hall?
No,
Commissioner Michelina?
No.
Chairman Rigsby?
No.
Commissioner Byers?
Nay.
Commissioner Kelly?
No.
Commissioner Eden?
no.
Motion does not pass. Mr. Ginsburg, you don't have the variance, but it sounds, based off of what we concluded and feedback from the staff, you do have a path forward to cover your deck. It just might be approached slightly different. And so if you'll work closely with your designer and staff, I think there's a way that we can get you the covering that you need in a similar fashion that you need.
So what you're saying is that if I use the existing deck supports, replace those, I don't need a variance?
Yeah, in this case, you have a legal non-conforming property where you're going to do an alteration and you're not building net new within the variance. And I think Heath, Chris, and the building staff can help you with that. I voted no, and if the commission has others, just for the record, because there's no hardship of the lot for this particular variance.
Right.
Right. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Ginsburg. Staff will be able to help you out.
Well, I think what I should do is I should do a design and then apply for a building permit,
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Correct.
because I understand what I think you said I should do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the next item, variance approval case PV 2026-07 at 163 Yellow Pine.
I don't know where this came from.
You can just leave that right there, sir. Yep. Chris, what can you tell us about this item? Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. So this is a request for a variance at 163 Pine to encroach approximately 8.5 feet at a maximum into the 20-foot front setback in a neighborhood zoned M1.
Okay. Thank you. We'll get you sworn in. If you'll raise your right hand, state your name, and say you'll tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
I'll tell the truth and nothing but the truth. William Morrissey.
Morrissey, is that it?
Morrissey.
Mr. Morrissey, thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking to do.
My wife and I purchased a property that is 410 square feet. It's an A-frame, built in about 1960, and it's been used from that time to current as a weekend, kind of a weekend retreat, a very small getaway. What I would like to do is modify the structure and modify the use to a full-time use by adding 1,000 square feet to an existing 410 square feet.
Great. And I see in your written statement, you have a couple of other reasons why this is necessary.
So the reason we need the variance involves the ability to build into the setback. So the part of the lot that we're talking about is the street side of the lot is the only part that would, the only wall that would affect or be constructed within a setback. So that front wall, what I would like to do is take the existing front wall, which is not a current legal setback, and extend that wall 40 feet. And so for a couple of different reasons that really don't justify a variance. The lot is substandard, 60 foot on one side, about 60 foot on the other side, something in the neighborhood of 110 foot in the middle. It's basically a 5-sided lot. So it's a substandard lot size. The lot itself gets steeper as you go away from the road, so it's more convenient to build closer to the road than farther from it. The farther you get from the road, the more difficult things become. We also have a chimney that either has to be modified or worked around, and I would prefer to work around it, mostly for safety reasons. A chimney that's been there since 1960 and well-maintained, I would like to leave alone. So that's a consideration. The new part of the structure would not encroach into the setback any more than the existing structure does now. And then one of the things that I did not include that seems relevant now is that although there's a 20-foot setback from the property line, from the street easement, the new part of the structure would actually be 28 feet from the pavement, from the edge of the pavement. So it looks on the plot map like it's really close to the street. But the plot map doesn't show where the actual street is. And I think one of the ways you can see that is if you look at the survey, there is an existing walkway that goes from the house to the street. In the street end of that walkway is not yet to the pavement. So that kind of gives you an idea of where the pavement sits within the street easement. Or the, easement.
Okay, thank you.
So,
At this time, we'll open it up to public input. Thank you for those comments and giving us an overview. Is there any public information or any public input from folks? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public input, move it to staff comments. Chris, I did see that we had a letter that was emailed in.
Yes, so that's the only public input that we received, a letter of support for the project.
Okay,
and that property owner is directly across the street from this project.
good context, thank you, sir. Chris, any other comments from staff or any information that we should hear?
Yes, so this, I did consult with Public Works directors as well, and they as part of their analysis, you'll see on page 48, it does show the approximate location of utilities, specifically water line that runs off the pavement, but within the right-of-way and coming very close to the southwestern side of the property. So, and I think Levi would be better to speak to this, but they did have some reservations on giving up any kind of feet towards anything that would impede on possible maintenance of the utilities.
Okay, thank you. But that's, and Levi, you can probably comment on this, or maybe you can, Chris. That's in the right-of-way, correct? So
Yes.
everything we see on this plat map still shows from the right-of-way.
Yes, so the utilities are in the right-of-way in the space between the actual pavement and the lot line.
So the blue line is the water line, represents the water line?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Okay, we'll open it up to commissioners' comments and questions for the applicant. Go ahead, I have one, but you can, it sounds like you were about to comment.
Well, just looking at this and jumping right to the hardship situation, as far as, I don't see one looking at the plat, because this looks like it could be shifted back and be within the, in the setbacks. And the lot is consistent as far as its topographic, the slope, and there's no more hardship in one area than there is in another as far as the buildability. That's just my observation.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Other questions for the applicant? I have one for staff, and Chris, Heath, you guys might not know this because we evaluated this previously. Previously, we've reduced the front setback from residential. Well, council did, on our recommendation from 20 to 15 feet. We didn't extend that, I'm guessing, since it's a 20-foot setback for M1.
It still exists as a 20-foot setback in M1.
Okay.
Another interesting variation on M1 district is the establishment of average setbacks for an area specifically, which takes into account the average of all the adjoining properties on a particular side of the street, specifically between the intersections. Now, this area is quite sparse. There are no direct neighbors to the left or right on adjoining lots, but there are 8 structures between intersections on their side of the street. And over time, when we have an application for a placement of a building, we do go out there to the M1 district and measure the front yards to allow them to meet the average of the neighbors, basically. So technically, if the average is 10 feet from the lot line, and then that person is allowed to build up to 10 feet for that front setback. So it's a shifting front setback for M1. And so any variation that's made here today will.
I've heard this.
I'm not sure I was following even.
So that is on page 53. I did include the footnote that speaks to the basically variable front setback for M1s based on the averages of buildings.
So wherever you place the manufactured home, and as long as your neighbors are on the same page, that's what becomes the setback,
Yes.
basically.
So do we know the average setback? on
Yes, so it's a 26 feet for the average setback for all the
Okay.
adjoining properties.
So his setback can actually increase in size, not only,
So he's, technically, he could build up to the 20-foot setback.
okay.
And only altered if the setback shrunk by averages.
So if it went from 20 to 5, then he could be 5 feet from the right-of-way in one district. So, but that seems crazy. Based off of the analysis, Chris, the 25% for non-conforming, can you maybe speak to that?
Yes, so that was just to add some more info concerning the nonconformities. We calculated how much, if it was approved, or how much the adding into the setback would add to the nonconformity, and it increased it by 163%, as opposed to the 25% that can be allowed on the increase of a nonconformity, and that only takes into the account the footprint of the nonconforming areas. So not the entire structures, just what is in the nonconforming areas.
That's a new one on me, I haven't heard this one before.
Yeah, up until this packet, I hadn't either.
So it's an M1 areas home. Is that correct?
So I'd have to double check on that, maybe in M2 as well. It's basically exist in mobile home allowed districts. And it's as added to the ordinances to allow mobile homes to be in line with each other, basically. And since it's a mobile home district, that is a subset of the ordinance.
So we're talking about aesthetics here.
Any other questions for the applicant or for staff on this variance?
Yeah, I got a question there as far as, first of all, I can't really tell where the chimney is here. And could that possibly be, let's just say, jutted out or, and also, I know it's a lot easier to just continue the front wall. That's what you're requesting here. But is it possible that you could, as Commissioner Byer stated, take that and move it back? Because on the topography, it looked like that the slope is fairly consistent, so it wouldn't affect it if you shifted it back or not.
Well, one of the things that you don't see in the aerial photograph is that the utility easement, although should be 10 feet, so when the utility easement was leveled, and I don't know if P&M does this or who does it, but what you have on this lot is a telephone pole in the 20 feet for the flattening, the 20 feet of leveled ground so that P&M can drive a truck back and forth. 100% of it is on my side of the lot. So what you have is the street here, the lot that comes down, then it drops off hard because the electric easement was flattened, was leveled, right? And 100% of that drivable easement is on my property. So instead of 10 feet on one side of the pole and 10 feet on the other side of the pole, you've got 20 feet on my side of the pole. That makes it more difficult to move the new structure back. Because to build the foundation for the new structure, now I would have to build instead of building a foundation that started on the slope, I would have to come off the cliff and onto the flattened part, right? And then build the structure. So that adds four or so feet, maybe more than that, but at least 4 feet to the foundation. So we're talking about a cinder block foundation, perimeter foundation. So again, you don't see that in these photographs, but that's the existing situation. So the answer to your question is, can the structure be moved back? It appears like it can from an aerial view, but when you get on the ground and look at it, there's a whole new set of considerations that aren't easy to see, if at all, in the photographs, and it certainly doesn't show it in the survey.
So that's a P and M easement?
It is.
Any way we can get a,
Go ahead, Chris.
So on page 45, it does show the easement, the utility easement on the south side of the property line. And although P&M may be taking more liberty on the property, where to drive, it's 10 feet on either side of the lot line. So if they are taking 20 feet on your side of the property, they're not, doesn't seem like they're legally allowed to do that.
So that's the topography as it exists, and it's something I have to work around. But that goes to your question. Can the new proposed structure be moved back? And in this case, it would have to be, 8.5 feet? Well, that would put me into this area that P&M has taken some liberties on the property.
Ron, any questions from you?
Uh, I'm kind of, so that 20-foot he's talking about for that easement for P&M, that's going to be at the rear of the property?
It
And
is.
so if he were to move this proposed structure back, how far are you allowed to encroach into that? I mean, if you're saying P&M already has a
P&M's
road
easement
there.
is 10 foot on either side of the property line. The poles are on the property line. But
Okay.
the area leveled to allow them to move a truck extended onto my property in a considerable way.
I think if I'm reading this correctly, though, right now in your proposed addition to the lot line is 19 something. And so if you shifted the proposed addition back out of the front of the easement, you would still have plenty of space, because you only need 8 feet, right? And so you'd have, I understand that you're saying that P&M has done that, but legally you're within your right to be up to that setback for utilities, because it is your property.
Right.
Well, and there was a reference to neighbors. We also own Lot 14 and Lot 13, although they are not combined into a single lot as of yet.
Okay.
The plan was to get the variance approved, then get a building permit, and then while the new construction is being done, combine the 3 lots into a single so that I could then build a detached garage on that 3rd lot, which would tie the 3 properties together. Something else I've done, as you can see from the survey, the deck, the existing deck, not only extends into the easements, but one footing is actually 1.21 feet onto the neighbor's property. And I intend to change that, get my structure off the neighbor's property. I have already discontinued service through Pinnacle This structure has always been supplied, their gas service has always been supplied by Pinnacle. That tank was 80% on my neighbor's property. And although I talked to him about it, and he said, yeah, I understand, it's grandfathered, it's been like that for 60-some years. And I said, that doesn't matter to me. As a good neighbor, I discontinued that service, and when the new structure's built, I'll come in with Zia gas.
Yeah.
Because it's, so the point being, I'm making an effort to create a property that improves neighborhood value, and addresses some of the issues that have existed for my neighbors for a long time.
Yeah, very commendable. We do have to just address the
I get it.
proposed addition and then the variance of the proposed addition, and we have to determine a hardship of the physical property.
So your question was, can there be a design that fits within all of the setbacks? And I would have to say, we can do something. You know, it may have to be a very different design. The first thing I did when I considered what to do with this property is I called the builder out and asked what can we do with on lot 13 without even discussing the other two lots. And he said, yeah, we can build a house here and here's how much it'll cost you. And I said, I think I'll try something else.
Understand.
Because I could do a lot of this work myself.
Go ahead, Bart.
Back to page 53 and Chris's comment about the setback and, because it's M1 and, if indeed, it sounds like it's a kind of a floating, situation, but is there a need for a variance if you go by this?
I think Chris's point earlier is yes, because it would actually move the setback to 26 feet from the right-of-way. Is that correct? So if you do this wonky calculation for M1, it actually makes it more difficult, yeah, because it's 26 feet.
Okay,
So that's not in our helping.
okay.
Okay, so let me ask then, if this variance were denied and I came up with a new plan, would that setback now be 26 feet?
No, I don't think so. It's not higher than the 20-foot setback that's explicitly stated.
The way that I'm reading it, it's not higher. It's that the 20-foot setback is the standard, and then it is decreased over a new average.
Is there a motion? Or any other questions for the applicant?
Well, you know, I just had reading on there where the maximum expansion of 25% is allowable, and that's, that property or that is within the existing non-conforming area, which equals out to, let's see, got it down here.
163%.
Pardon?
163%.
Yes, so if you conform with the 25% maximum allowable and moved your structure and had that allowable percentage in the non-conforming area to meet the requirements, how far would you have, do you, just off the top of your head, do you know, can figure out how far back you would have to move? Would that be easier as far as having to move it all the way out of that setback?
So if I could answer a bit to that, I believe it would allow an additional 22 square feet
Okay, that's,
of nonconformity.
okay, that's almost nothing.
And we can only, that's a grant that he would still have to come back to us.
I'm not sure, he would have to come back to us, that might fall into the jurisdiction of the building permit, which would allow 25% expansion of a nonconformity. Of course, I would consult with you all to see, and as well as Heath, to determine that, but I do believe that would fall into the realm of building permit.
So Mr. Morsey here can only do a 22-foot addition to his 400-square-foot home on the ground floor, and then he'd have to build up? Is that what this is saying?
No, it's, that would be to expand the nonconformity. So,
So if he's in his property line in the setbacks, that 25% does not apply?
right, but a portion of it is already correct. If he's going to be building inside the setbacks, that does not apply.
Gotcha.
Even if he's attached to the existing.
So he's not,
non-conforming.
I don't want him to be out of luck if we're saying, no, you can't have this variance, just put it on your lot, go ahead and build to your heart's content. But at that point, if he's on his property, the 25% doesn't apply?
That's correct.
Okay.
But he could put 22 square feet in that.
He could potentially put 22 square feet in the setback to be aligned, adding to that addition. So with
But
the,
we still need to give him a variance. He'd still need a variance for that 22
Oh,
square.
He would, you were saying that would comply with the,
Well, it's really
And that
a
you
moot
could-
point. If the variance is not approved, then to move forward, I need to come up with a new plan. And if I come up with a new plan, then it'll be 100% within the existing setbacks, even if that means I have to combine some lots in order to get the square footage that I want.
Yeah. Fair.
You know, the only downside to that is it's my understanding it takes, 8 months to combine lots these days, and so in the meantime, I've got new holding costs for another 8 months.
Yeah. Other comments from the commission, or is there a motion? Thank you, sir.
That's upon the foregoing findings of facts per 54-69, 54-124, 54-127, and 54-98 of the Village Code. I move to approve the request variance of approval case number PV-2026-07.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Let's move to roll call vote, seeing no discussion.
roll call, Commissioner Baugh,
No.
Commissioner Michelina,
No.
was that a no?
Was that a no?
No, yeah.
Chairman Rigsby,
Nay.
Commissioner Byers,
Nay.
Commissioner Kelly,
No.
Commissioner Eby.
No.
Motion does not pass. Thank you, sir. Thank you for spending the time today and working through this with us.
Yeah, and thank you for hearing my request.
Chris, for the record, the stated reason is that there was no foreseeable hardship for this particular variance request on the lot. Alternative designs of the structure were presented.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, let's move to the next item. This is an easement vacation request. The nice folks from Region 9 stuck it out to potentially present this one. Chris, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about this.
I'll go tell Commissioner Hall.
Oh, yeah. Bill, if you're there, you can come in.
Wake up.
Do you have-
Leave
do you
him
need to
out
leave,
there.
or do you-
Nap's over.
Oh, so do I. We'll get out of here in that time. All right, let's move to this item. Gentlemen, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
If you'll, my name's Thad Phipps. I promise to tell the truth, nothing
Thank
but
you.
the truth, Thad Phipps, okay. On page 71, we are requesting, if you can see there in the yellow, that easement to remain. It's a storm water drain culvert easement that was established back in 2000. And we are requesting to remove the green portion, which is running right across Region 9's property, and would be still under the 2 playgrounds that we intend to build for the Region 9 facility, which is going to be used for Head Start, infants and toddlers. And what we're requesting is in the blue to reroute that easement to the setbacks, within the setbacks of our property, and create an underground utility easement so that all utilities could utilize that easement, and not just for stormwater, that it could be for gas, water, whatever needed to be done.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to open it up for public input. Anybody has anything to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public input. We'll go to staff comments and any communication.
There was communication from Dr. Anatoly Gutowski, who is actually the grantor of the original easement for the drainage. Requested some information, we spoke about it, and he wanted to express his support of the project.
Okay, thanks. Chris, any other comments from staff?
Not at this time.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring Levi in just to have him, because we're going to ask him questions, I'm sure. So we'll go ahead and close it and open it up to commissioners' comments for these gentlemen. Folks, what questions do you have for the applicants?
Mr. Chairman, Levi, the gentleman made the statement that all utilities could work within that easement, is that correct?
Yes, sir. So that's part of why I requested that they come down here is there was a drainage easement there, and then through their process of the demolition of their building, we discovered a sewer line that is running through the middle of that property that was some of it was within the drainage easement, but not all of it was within the drainage easement, and it's a sewer line that feeds the Catholic Church. So as part of the vacation of the drainage easement, all my ask is that it be put into, we establish a utility easement for that sewer line and a drainage easement for that there. And I think that their proposed plan meets that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks
I have
for,
a question for Levi. I see on this drawing here that the proposed location is almost a 90-degree corner there. Is that an issue for running utilities and stormwater and having a 90-degree turn?
I think that their engineer can probably come up with a plan that can make that work, or their contractor when they.
So if this were to be angled maybe at a 45 and a 45, that's not an issue for the playground or anything that's going there?
No, ma'am, it won't be. And on page 73, the sheet of AS 101, you can see that there is a catch basin in the middle and also at that corner, and it appears to me that it is a 90 degrees, Counselor.
Oh, yeah, I see it right there.
If there's going to be a 45 there, but we will visit with our contractors and make sure that the water flows appropriately.
And I will add too that the Region 9 has been very helpful in with dealing with that sewer line that they discovered that was not documented. They've, did a temporary bypass and also it was like right around Easter services of the Catholic Church. And they did work with them and were very responsible in dealing with that. So I commend them for that.
nothing worse than pissing off the Catholics on Easter.
Literally.
Was that easement through the old, I guess, the back portion of the nursery that was there under where they had all, so it was, yeah. So it's been
That
there.
easement went in place before the Catholic Church put their curbing and the asphalt in.
Yeah.
And so it was minimally effective per the previous owners. There were some asphalt berms that had been laid across the back of the property that minimally impacted the water that was coming down off that parking lot. So this new storm drain that the engineers have designed is gonna be a much more effective solution anyway, and it's just gonna route down the setback where we'll always have access to be able to maintain that, and it'll also include the waste line from the Catholic Church, and it'll include all of our utilities.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know you were a kid, but that was on a previous village councilman's property, is that correct? Stubby Howe?
I can tell you. I can tell you, but you could be a potential.
Joe may remember.
I'm just curious, if y'all know if the tanks were ever removed from the old Gulf station.
No tanks on the property that we are aware of. There was an oil change bay in the existing facility that had a metal storage tank in the basement. And so that metal storage tank, as part of our solution, because it will be an early childhood center, per regulations, had to come out. So it was, the remaining oil that was in it was evacuated. The tank itself was cut apart, removed. It's been backfilled, compacted. The phase 1 environmental tests have come back with negative ground penetration, so.
Good,
Okay.
awesome.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-70 and 54-102 of the Village Code, I move to recommend easement vacation approval by the Planning Commission to the Ruidoso Village Council for case number EV 2026-04 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll move to a roll call vote.
Roll call, Commissioner Baugh,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina,
I'm still there?
Yeah, aye.
Chairman Rigsby,
Aye.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Eby.
Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
I'm not on the record, apparently. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your time and sticking with us today. So, Levi, thanks for being here, too. All right. That is it for our quasi judicial hearings. Everybody has left us now at this point. So let's move on to our old business. I think we can move through this section quickly. This is our third take at looking at the future land use map. This version of it has been presented to the steering committee.
Oh, okay.
The steering committee gave little to no feedback outside of, they recommended that we incorporate the annexation lines again.
They want.
They wanted, we can talk about that, but that was the primary one. Chris, what other ones am I missing in terms of feedback?
So basically just, the steering committee, just kind of reviewed everything, kind of, understood what, the vision was, and they're looking to implement that into their suggestions and their input for the final, in the comprehensive plan, which is, scheduled to be, voted on by June.
So they wanted to put in the annexation around the airport, is that what?
They did. They did. I am still of the opinion that we don't have to comment on that. Just if
No.
the steering committee wants it, they can add it.
Did they, on the steering committee, did they have anybody that's on the council now on that committee?
I think they have 2 people.
So,
Or,
Counselor Corey and Counselor, sorry?
Adam?
Oh, no, Adams, I don't believe he's on the steering committee. I'm
Is it-
sorry.
The mayor's on there too, I'm pretty sure.
He hasn't attended any meetings, though.
Okay.
Is it Susan Letterman?
Yes,
Susan.
Susan Letterman.
So
like I
think,
said, that becomes that's a political hot potato, that's a governing body issue. If they want to do that, have at it. You know, I personally, I would not recommend that, but, you know,
Yeah.
that's, like I said, I know the firestorm that'll create if you thought the election stuff was crazy.
does anybody have any other comments, maybe outside of annexation, unless somebody feels strongly that we would want to add it back in?
No, I think this version's very, very good.
Okay.
I
I
guess,
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did we want the old mill district going up Meacham?
I thought we had that as a regional corridor, but
well, that portion of where it's blue there going up Meacham that's all, where's you get further north on Meacham, you've got bigger lots. There's a lot, it's all small lots in there. So I'm not sure, you know, regional, I'm not sure you'd have to buy an awful lot of lots to put anything of any size in that general area at Meacham and Suttereth.
What is the cross street that's ending on?
Like Barkus or one of those?
No, I think it's ending at,
Or Poor?
Poor. I think it's ending at Poor, right before the, ENMU and Albertsons. Yeah, it's just, as I said, it's just a lot size there that to me.
I mean, I get the idea of what the blue is representing. I just think it's a little bit funny to call it the Old Mill District way over there.
Yeah, maybe it's a naming thing. Activities of commerce, community life, supporting higher density development, residential, commercial, civic, cultural uses in a compact, walkable setting. I mean, maybe we want to see more walkability on that lower half. I mean, the number of people, I know this is talking about today, not in the future, but the number of people that walk from the campground, from Lowe's, from Thunderbird Lodge over there to Midtown is pretty high, so, or like St. Bernard's. So I can see it, but.
Yeah, it's,
Do you feel strongly enough that you would want to change it? And if so, what would you want to change it to?
What do y'all think?
I don't, like I said, I think because of just because of the lot size, I think it's fine to leave it there based on what you're looking at for the future.
No, yeah, I like that it's blue,
Yeah.
but the name of it, I don't know
Oh,
that I like.
Call it Ruidoso Classic.
Call it whatever.
I like the name. I think it's like, you know, this is the heart of the town, if you will, the old mill. I don't know.
Old Ruidoso.
Oliver Doso is,
Name.
yeah, exactly. I don't feel strongly enough to say that we should change the name, but
Okay.
I'm open to any others.
Yeah. No, I thought, as I said, I appreciate all the effort they did with pulling all of that stuff together, so,
Agreed.
you know, it's a good map, and like I said, let the governing body decide if they wanna do that, it's up to them, but I could already see that, so.
Yep, I would agree.
But that's, like I said, that's above our pay grade.
All right. Anything else? If not, we can move on to our next items. Don't want to cut it short, but we have been going long today, so. Okay, let's move to community development report. Keith, Chris, what you got for us?
So, I'd like to give an update on 603 Meacham. As you all probably have seen, so a contract has been awarded to pave the roads within the next month or two for the driveways in between the units. Asphalt millings have so far been applied to the road as a base layer in lieu of the eventual paving there.
So they chip sealed them and now they're gonna pave them.
Yes.
It's just millings. It's not really chip seal.
And that was just asphalt millings that were put down.
Just put millings down and
Instead of base course.
instead of base course, they just put millings down.
Right.
The contractor's gonna mix it with base course before you pave.
Okay.
The two log cabins will be receiving metal roofs and siding as well. And the rock house will also be getting a new roof here soon. And so far, that's what we have for 603 Meacham. Okay, unless there are any other questions at the moment.
What's the move-in date?
So far, I have no determined move-in date yet.
Can we make sure it's before June 17th?
26 or,
27?
I would prefer 26, yes.
I mean,
I'd like it to be
like
before the 2-year anniversary of the fire.
23 or 4?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just optics wise, it just makes more sense to have it before the 2-year anniversary of the fire.
If you could get us an update on when folks are thinking. I know that there's still more work to be done, but.
I will definitely look into that and report that back to you.
Okay.
So Chairman, if I could, so we are waiting on P&M for 1 meter final inspection.
Okay.
And that's really what's holding up, I think, the majority of the move-in date.
Okay.
There's one house that's lacking inspection. When you come in, they're still waiting on inspection. There's water in the house. I believe there's a leak, but we haven't been able to locate the leak. It's strange because we know the leak is not before the meter, or if we went and looked, or it looks like there's a leak past the meter, but the meter's not reading any water going through it. So Home Spot should be here in the morning to try to determine where that water is actually coming from. That's what's kind of holding up the inspection on the last house.
Do we have to have all of the units inspected and passed before we can start moving people into other ones? So,
No, I don't think so, and then the other part of it, just working with, we're waiting on finance to get approval to use that money to actually get the paving done. With what we discussed, like, kind of getting the paving done before we actually get people in there, being that there's a lot of material that's gonna have to be moved, and we put people in there before we pave, I think it would be a mess.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. I
fair
just-
enough.
So, we do have approval now, so just working with, Rhinemark, and that should happen in the next couple of weeks. And that's actually Mesa Verde's gonna pave that project.
Thanks, Levi.
Yeah, it's just an optics thing, that's all, just, you know.
Yes, and White Sands is done with their portion of the project, I will add.
Good.
Okay. Chris, what else you got for us?
So we got the 911 readdressing project that has been on hold for quite some time, a few years now. I would like to let you all know that it continues to be on hold, pending a decision by the executive branch to see where we move with any readdressing as a whole for certain streets that have been identified by a company that we work with called Datamark. And we are addressing the issue of bad addresses basically on a as-needed basis. So we do get real estate companies, agents, private property owners alerting us of redundancies or addresses that are inconsistent on the side of the road. So I do work with, through an address verification in coordination with Postal Service, the 911 dispatch, as well as our billing and other utilities in the area to sort those out and recertify addresses. So we probably get anywhere from about 10 requests a week or so for address verification. And don't really know where the discrepancies come in or how they were generated. It could, I think a lot of addresses were used as known as addresses and really need to be brought into congruency with the neighbors.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I will say, so obviously the Next Gen 911 is a priority. I'm aware of that. It's a capacity issue right in the moment. So I will let you know that we do have our first round of interviews for the Community Development Director position starting tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have somebody identified to fill that role so then we can start focusing back on getting the 911 stuff updated.
Thanks, Heath. You're already sick of us, huh?
No, not at all. I just don't want to burn everybody else out.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chief, for the clarification.
And short-term rentals, we continue to work with Deckard to get all the addresses updated, all the short-term rentals. We have, for the month of April, there was a slight decrease in the amount of short-term rentals registered from 1333 to 1327. And for lodger's tax, it continues to grow, especially compared to this time last year, with remittance in April of $212,973 for lodger's tax.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. If there's nothing else relevant for the commission, we'll move to commissioners' comments. I have one, maybe two, if the folks are comfortable with it. If we could, this may be a request for staff, but I want to get these guys to think about it too. Maybe we clean up the language on the variable M1 setback. I feel like that's something that we could probably tackle, so that way we aren't doing calculations and measuring distances. That would be my only comment. And so, Chris, maybe we can have that presented to us at
Are
future
you
meeting,
proposing like a standard setback?
like we do in every other residential district or any other districts. We have standard setbacks. We shouldn't have calculations just for mobile homes.
Yeah, 'cause that makes it confusing there, because you're talking about you having an average setback for a specific stretch
Yeah.
of road, and that could be different on another stretch of road.
Is that from intersection to intersection?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is that what, that was kind of the challenge of the case I didn't hear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
part of it.
Part of it.
yeah.
Okay, yes, I will work on getting language together to bring in front of the planning commission.
And it was the first time in all the years I've been on here that I have ever heard of that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
I think that's the only comment that I have.
is the standard related because of the lot size? Is that, was the logic?
To line up mobile homes.
So visually, they look the same.
It's aesthetics.
Oh,
Which I appreciate the fact that you brought that to our attention, because
Yes.
obviously it is there,
Yep.
you know, and I was totally unaware of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways,
you were here when the mountain was formed. How is that possible?
All right, if there's nothing else, I think we've been together for too long now.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, any discussion?
Second.
Let's do thank you for the second run. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, Levi.
Thanks, Levi.
so is that leak possibly a spring?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.